made this talk out of, before coming to Python, I had two talks I want to talk about. I want to talk about desktop development in Python with PyQt, and then blockchain development. And then I just decided to make this because I think this will make an impact on you. And for the guys who are here who have never heard of blockchain, trust me, this will be like your eye opener or what. And please feel free to ask questions, and let's let it be an interactive session. Just even know it's only 12 slides. It's not like 100 slides, and 2 have already gone. The first one was the title. Okay, so before we go into that, the talk is called Python in Web3, Libraries, Techniques, and Local. It was supposed to be developer challenges, I made it short, and local dev challenges. And what I mean by local dev is I'm looking at us as Ugandan development, and the locality is Uganda, so I would have said Ugandan dev challenges. But if I go to Kenya, I also say local dev challenges. Point of collection, some guy talked about Kenya, he was like, they have the best rice. It's a point of collections. You guys have like the worst rice on this planet. Like, I was in Kenya last week, but and like the rice is very, 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 very bad. Like, literally, it's terrible. It's like grass, not in a bad way. It's terrible. We have the best rice. Okay? So, who am I to be here to tell you this about Python Web3? I'm a computational physicist with surprising a degree in computational physics. I also am an educator. I do DevOps for some people. But I went into blockchain 2021 after campus, or immediately in Sioux campus, when I heard of payments, crypto. By raise of hands, who has ever heard of crypto? By raise of hands, who has never heard of crypto? By no raise of hands, who is not here? I saw the other guy with glasses never raised hands on anything. So crypto, let's say all of you have heard of it. By raise of hands, who have heard of Bitcoin? You have never heard of Bitcoin. I'll ask you a question. Okay, let's just take it a bit technical. By raise of hands, who has ever heard of Ethereum? This is better. By raise of hands, who have ever heard of a smart contract? Let's take it a bit challenging. By raise of hands, who has ever heard of an RPC? Check. So now, I can use this one, just this one. Or if I use this one, it's okay. I just use this one. So I've been told that I have to use 2 microphones, so that some of you are not hearing me well. So let's just continue. I think 5 minutes in this. I was going to raise hands to make it a bit technical. By raise of hands, who has ever heard of RPC? Yes, at least we have 2 people. Should I ask something whereby we have no person? Now that will make it a bit technical. We shall ask it later. Let's first make these people know by RPC by the time we reach there. So, this is the agenda. We don't have time for the agenda. We shall just go. So, this is like a brief overview. Introduction to Python and blockchain. So, I will just talk about the role of Python in the blockchain ecosystem, the advantages, why Python has its advantages. I will just talk about the use cases, and something that was supposed to be added there is like the challenges we have. So, me personally, I'm a Python developer, like straight core Python. I'm Team Python 100, one-on-one. So when I went into the Web3, one of the challenges I would face is like all guys there, like 80% of the guys in Web3 are JavaScript. So how did I do that transition? How did I manage? And to become, by the way, I won DevFest of Uganda, and most guys there were JavaScript. So JavaScript guys, sorry, that's on me. That's on Python. I want that for Python, though the code was written in JavaScript. So, anyways, so one of the things I like about Python is its readability. You can read the code well. If you are doing code, you know the imports of Python. Import this from this. In JavaScript, you have to import, put quotation marks, put art, put a lot of stuff. So, but that's the thing. So let's just go and say, before going into the unique libraries, let's first talk something like, what is Web3? Like, that's what guys, all of your heads are like, what is this guy talking about? What is Web3? This all started, I won't say long time ago. It's recent. All of you were born, something like 2008. Satoshi wrote a white paper Then 2012, I think Bitcoin hit the market. If I'm sure with statistics, I'm not good with the ages. I may not know even the day I was born, but that should be the estimate. Then Bitcoin was just payment. If all of you have heard of Bitcoin, peer-to-peer payments, whereby someone can even pay you via Bluetooth, like the peer-to-peer. You don't need a bank. You can pay. If we are having a border, let me give an example of safe border. Me paying my safe border guy, I would have to first pay. Safe border would have to first confirm the transaction, do its cut, and then pay the safe border guy. But with this, I could just pay the safe border directly. That was peer-to-peer. What I mean peer-to-peer is me and you. Museveni doesn't have to know. Whoever doesn't have to know. It's me and you. That's how it came. So it was such a hit that guys who read it, the tech guys who read it were like, hey, this is also there. So they were like, how do we capitalize on this? So that's when someone started and wrote Ethereum, meaning like programmability on the web. You have tokens, you have been sharing money. What if I put programs out there? What will happen? If I make this program like programmable, what will happen? So that's now we shall get what happened when they made Ethereum. So from Ethereum, EVM, you hear EVM is Ethereum virtual machine. It's like how code runs, was something, a lot of that. I won't go into technical things. But from then, it now became an amazing field. Like a lot of things came up. You had things like IPFS, where you hear that storage. You had things like Filecoin. You had things like Ethereum. You started hearing utility tokens. You started hearing NFTs. I think some of you have NFTs. We usually have, there's an NFT club of Uganda. I think it's called NFT Africa, if you have never heard of it. So a lot of things came up, and it became what is now known as Web3. Like there's a lot of how we redefine stuff. I usually give this example. You know hotels, 5-star hotels like Selena. So if you want to make a hotel, how easy is it for you to compete with Selena? Like it's typically, no one will go to your hotel when there's Selena. So it now comes, Airbnb. Those who have gone out, who has traveled a lot, or those who usually have people at home they don't want to bring to their rooms, and you take them somewhere. That's Airbnb. Like you go to a room someone shares out their room. So it came to like that. I already have my house, it's big. How do I compete with Selena? I go on Airbnb, I put my room. Selena will work, but also I also get people. So we have a lot of services that we give out there. I made a LinkedIn post recently about how we are giving out our data for free. Here, anyone in Google developers here? By raise of hands in Google developers? Oh, we have a few. By raise of hands if you have ever heard of Google developers. And by raise of hands if you tried and it failed out like me. Yeah, we used to go there at campus and the things were like, oh, what are they doing? And then we ran away. So Google's big, how Google earns money, it's ad revenue. You hear these targeted ads. Someone talked about it, AI, recently, when you are like, you are, it's the same. So someone talked about it when you're like, you are browsing through TikTok, you see a video of of a cat dancing, and the next 5 videos you see are the cat dancing. Or something related, or you see a dog dancing, but dancing has to be there. So that targeted ads, it's like when you are signing in a website, you hear that, please check cookies, check something like, give permissions for this. So someone has your data, they are like, give permissions for this. Anyway, I won't talk more about blockchain, we shall talk later, but that's like typically it. User to user, peer to peer, smart bit, and something like that. So how, with this rising field, how do we cope up as Python developers? How do we make an impact? How do we make money out of it? Like it's that one of the fields with money for developers, highly paid. How do we make money from it? So let's now go and see. I made a list of libraries you guys could check out. If there's time, we shall try out one. There's a library called web3.py. It's for interacting with Ethereum. People of Web3.js, if you are here, you know there's Web3.js. It's also a big library. With this, you can create accounts, do stuff with, do calls, send transactions. Let me give an example. One thing that I usually find hard in Uganda. We are all developers. Have you ever tried to integrate the mobile money API in your system? You have ever tried?
you know that this even on the Airtel for them they have their issues, not in a bad way. But like the MTN, you go to the office, some guy will toss you, and in the end, your system is going to make for them money. That's a funny thing. You go into all that hustle, then after they be like, each transaction you do, we shall charge you 3%. Feel like, my God, like, so who makes those, like, if I have a system now, and me to integrate Bitcoin payment into my system. I'm not an advocate for Bitcoin, by the way. I don't feel like the guys all Bitcoin, they don't pay me. So if I want to integrate my own payment or what into the system, I don't have to ask anyone. I just have to ask the people who have the token. I'd be like, we have a Pi token. I want to integrate Pi tokens in my system. What will I do? I'll just write a code. Whoever has Pi token just comes to my system and then interacts with it. So those are some of the things we find, like putting a payment gateway, you have to use your Uganda, something like that, which is 6%. Imagine a transaction of 6 millions. What is 6%? 360K. As a developer, you don't touch it. Then now you first go and be like, now, how will I now also get you? Add 7%, guys start crying, clients, something like that. So how do we move with, because the thing is like, change is like a real big fact of life. We are talking about these things. Guys, we are talking about Bitcoin in 2014. People were like, these guys are mad. But now imagine someone, Bitcoin those days were like $10. $10 is a pizza of Uganda. Now it's in billions, like literally, if your father was like a bit, if my father, let's not use your fathers, if my father was like a bit somehow, and would be like, my son, I have bought Bitcoin. Or my son, I've bought Bitcoin for $10. I would be like, my dad, what have you done? But right now, would be having 2 buildings in Kampala, and then it would be like, I wouldn't be here, I would be in our apartments. So you get that whole point, like change. And there are guys who bought it. They are called the whales. Now, if you bought something of $10 in 2014, and right now you have billions, how? You see, that's the point. Change, the guys usually adapt. And I'm not saying like, we are still seeing it. We are still seeing whole lands. We are still, it's not like, we are still seeing things happening, and it's either you to be the change. AI explosion, you heard about the AI explosion. Now everyone is talking about AI. But like when ChatGPT first came, I think lecturers were like, you can't use ChatGPT on my work. But now they are like, with use of ChatGPT, do something. So that's the thing. So we have Bitcoin.py, Solana.py, Brownie is one of my favorite. You can write smart contracts in Python. What are smart contracts? We shall see if there is time, we shall see in it. Viper, ETH ABI, like literally what's an ABI? Application binary interface, like an API. I just bit, if you have heard of GraphQL, it's something like, you know that there's REST API, then GraphQL API, something like that, whereby you can program what data you want to fetch. It's also a bit nice. If you have never heard of it, you should try it, check it out. So now, I can just say a deep dive. Deep dive would be like, we have 30 minutes. Next time we shall have like 100 minutes. This will be an ad. I'm opening up something, a space for those who want to be doing Web3. I'm opening up a space. It will be advertised soon, and you guys will be checking it out. Ad over. So setting up Web3 projects, how do we do? What are the languages? Web3 projects are not like Web2, but it's almost the same. If I need a payment system, Flask will still stay the payment system. It will be the normal Python. Those who follow me on GitHub, it's Oliseh Genesis. I have an open source repository of Bitcoin Leap, where I made a payment gateway of Bitcoin, and you just receive Bitcoin. It just transacts it to mobile money. So that, you know, we have this challenge whereby, and what is the crypto tender of Uganda? Crypto is not illegal in Uganda, by the way, for information. People speak badly, but it's not illegal. There is something we say, absence of evidence is not what? Evidence of absence, something like that. So they are not, it's like how someone comes here and says, what are the regulations of storing your data on Google Drive? So, but the problem is it becomes financial, and anything that has financial is usually a challenge to the state. So you interact with smart contracts using Web3 Pi, you send transactions, you sign messages. And yeah, I was going to do best practices and common pitfalls. Possibly I will go into it another time because we have 30 minutes, but this talk would be shared with you guys, and I always make blogs, I always make stuff. But trust me, as a Python dev, you don't need to change to JavaScript to cater, like, to also be part of this. Okay, 6 slides, almost there. So I had this other slide of introduction to Viper. What is Viper? Viper is also a language development with the Web3. And then it has its comparison with Solidity. You guys, everyone here has ever heard of Solidity. If you have never heard, you can just beat yourself in the chest 3 times and say, I'm a sinner. But like, you have to have heard of Solidity. Like, really, it's something you just pass. And the funny thing is, like, a small language, it's not all that big, same syntax. But you meet someone, it's like, I'm a Solidity designer, I'm a Solidity developer. And again, by the way, another thing is, when you go into Web3, you don't have to learn Solidity. Like, AI is already there for you. You just know what you want, then you just go on ChatGPT, go on cloud, be like, I want a contract that when someone pays me, it just changes the transaction. I want to give it 2 people. When it pays me, just split the payments, 50-50. ChatGPT will automatically give you that. You launch it, then you interact it with Python. You don't even need to tweak anything. Like, AI has been programmed to reach that point whereby it gives you, just say, make it secure, do what, your prompts. Let's just go. Sabrina, how many minutes do I have? When I'm out, it's like you tell me when I'm crashing. No. So this is one thing we have a group it's called Dev League, Dev Gig. I don't know which one you are in, Dev League, Dev Gig, or Dev Launch. There's a lot of dev groups in Uganda. And one of the common quarrels we'll be having there is JavaScript versus Python. And like, it's like literally every day. I think we even made it. Sometimes guys of PHP come there and we all first be like, you guys, no, you guys go in another group. This one is like for quarreling. Serious guys are quarreling. You guys will be there. Guys of Rust pass there and we'll be like, yeah, our agents. For you, just go there, you are better. So we usually have that thing. Guys are like, JavaScript performs better than Python. Python performs better than JavaScript. Syntax, like, if you have been here and you are in a group, you have ever heard of that quarrel. Like, if you have a friend who is serious, you ever heard of that and even make feelings and be like, man, like, no one usually wins. But so we have, like, when you're designing, so like when you're profiling blockchain Python nodes, you'll be like, will they be slow? Because you have this bias of Python, like the compiler Python, will they be slow? Will they be what? So those are the practices you guys should check out. How do I profile? How do I optimize memory? Before going into that, I think those who want to venture into blockchain and are Python developers, there is Algorand. It launched a blockchain, full blockchain running on Python, like PyAlgo kits. Like, there is no JavaScript. Contracts are written in Python. Everything is written in Python. And like, it has seen like the best rise since Solana. If you guys have ever heard of Solana, since Solana, it has seen the most rise in use. Like, it's having devs going there every day because their syntax is better. You don't have to write like construct, abstract, something like that. So you can also check it out and then see how do they compile. Their code is open source. You can also contribute. And yeah, continue. Consideration for PyPy in blockchain development. PyPy, some people have no PyPy. You know PyPy? Yeah, so it's all Python, I think. So we usually have versions of PyPy. It's open source. Guys usually do what they want with it. I can also make my Oliseh Pi very soon. I just go and compile. I give it out, which I do. I don't know if that is legal, but you guys will check it out. So one of the things we have a lot in blockchain, and this talk is more technical and a bit less technical. So I expect everyone to be getting what I'm talking. So like, with Jingo's chat and I'm like, oh yeah. No. You guys have to follow. If you don't follow, at least shake the head, lie yourself, fake it until you make it. So one of the things we have like is concurrency. Like, you have a lot of, you think, okay, let's not shake it. So we have a lot of peers. Your computer is running a node, the other computer is running a node, the other computer is running a node. So how do I query the information? That's concurrency. If you are here, this is another one, not bad, but if you are here and has never written a code or a line of code with the word async, please raise your hand. We have seen one. You guys, it's not bad. Like, why are you taking it like... Jamil, I think Django has async. He's the best Django developer we have. Tell me because sir. If you're here, you have... Okay, if you have Let's just do like this. If you have never written async, if you have ever written async, raise your hand. So those who have never written hand, those who have never raised hands, what's happening? So we have concurrency like the async await. If I need a balance with a REST API, I can just be like fetch balance directly returns. But here I'm having peers. You have your data, the other node has data. I have to first have like, how can I say? I have to first have concurrent. How do you call this other? When two parties agree, how do you call that? I have to have like an agreement. I have to have like this. They are synchronous, something like that. So it's when you hear async, yes, thank you. You have to have like 5 balances of the same account equal. So those are some of the habits. So anytime you design a program in blockchain, it has to have that async. You can't just query balance on someone. Yeah, there are some blockchains which are called ZK. You have heard of ZK? Some guy here like ZK sync, ZK what? Zero knowledge. It means zero knowledge. So that when you go to a node, like rollups, I can give an example of a rollup. When you go to a node and you query balance, it's balanced because the rollup has already done that, but it's not a big thing. Async and await. Even if it's not blockchain, even if you are doing your code and you find Fast API introduced it. I remember those guys who use Fast API in Python, you know that? If you have never heard of Fast API, this one is not for raising hands. Beat yourself on the chest 3 times and say, I'm Zakaria, I'm Asina. So you just say, I've repented. Go and find out what that is. So I think Sabrina raised the flag for 5 minutes. So yeah, that's literally it. Then we have heard of AI. I think this one was also for like 20. So this one was supposed to be another talk, but let me just summarize it here. I recently had a talk with Chambogo. If you have from Chambogo, ever studied at Chambogo, raise your hand. Jamil, there we know. So it was something like AI needs decentralized storage. Like it was literally, it's something like it's a theme for Filecoin. Like AI needs decentralized storage. How do you train these models? Have you ever been using ChatGPT and they're like, don't share your keys here, don't share sensitive information here? Why is that? Like the models you are training, the data may be used to train other models. And the funny thing is like training AI. I usually have a question like, have you ever tried interacting with any AI in Runyankore, Uganda, and you hear as if it's replying? If you go to Kabale and ask all people of Kabale that who has ever volunteered to teach an AI in Runyankore, I think you will not get anyone. So how do you think it runs that in Runyankore? So you see, that's the thing, how we are opting into data, opting out for data. So AI needs, like another thing with AI training, if you ever try to train a model, most of you guys here have used pre-trained models. If you have done AI, I think. If you ever had like a trained model where you train it yourself, do you know the data we needed? How do you save that data? So we have programs like Filecoin, IPFS. If I have my hard disk of 300 GB and I use like 200 only, I could rent out the other 100 and I just be earning from it. Like I rent it out, the other guy runs a node, I run like a Filecoin node and they be using it. So that's how we do in AI. And this finds you have competition because right now my computer can't host an AI, like a learning data set. Have you ever tried getting URA data sets of weather? Is it URA wildlife? They're like in GBs, like for one day you get the whole weather, like in GBs. Now imagine you want to make an AI predict data for like a year. How do you do that? So we have like, do you put it on Google Drive? Do you put it where? That's why you have pre-trained models, meaning that big companies have ever invested in training them. So now if I want to do something which I feel is unbiased, that's another thing. They are biased because someone has already trained them. If you want to do something and you feel it's unbiased, you have to train it yourself. So do you have that data? Do you have that space? By the way, Filecoin is one of the best. It gives like 1 TB free. You run a node and you get 1 TB free. You can put your data there and run. So AI answer. So one of the things you can build in Python with blockchain is also AI. Like, you know, Python is known for machine learning. Run a node, do that. So let's just go. So we have a Q&A. I think let me not be like Jesus. I just do and then go. And then say I will come back and I don't come back. Let me just come back here and then we ask questions, please. If you have a question, while we are waiting for Jesus, if you have a question, please ask a question. Yes, please. I think if there's a microphone, if it's not there, he can speak. Yes, please. Okay. Some people have microphones under their tables. Yes, please. You speak louder. Okay.
You can't compare Kenyan rice.
It's very bad. You can't compare. It is very bad. Kenyan rice is bad. You can't compare. Continue. Continue.
I observed your session. I have sort of just, I want you to give your take on Mochoko for
Motoko for definitive.
your take on each.
Oh, thank you. One of the projects that made me like blockchain, like typically with my heart, is Motoko, like Definity. Recently, we had an airdrop at the Innovations Village, and we were like to put some codes. They were teaching us about Motoko. Blockchain has incentivized learning a lot. They pay you for learning. There are sites like Decade. If you're a developer here, you know TypeScript. Go spend a day there, get 100K. Design a project. If you want, it's Decade. You'll ask me later or what. But then Motoko, I think, does the raising flag leave the answering question, or I just run away? Okay, thank you. So, Motoko is the language of ICP. ICP introduced internet computer, like programming on the web. And I think one of the things, people think it's like parallel with Ethereum, but it's like a big achievement. You have heard of chain fusion. So, Motoko is like a language, and it's easier to learn. I find a way of putting this one in a good way, and I find it's just know, how can I say this? Who has, TypeScript applications, JavaScript applications, or Python application? Imagine a Flask app, instead of running on a server, running on a blockchain. So that's how Motoko is. You run, you query, you even call smart contracts on other blockchains. So I think my take on it is like it's really a nice thing, and it's like the future of Web3. And if it works well, like with the chain fusion and what, it's like literally something great we could see coming out of Motoko. Thank you. Yes, please, another question? No, just one more. Oh, you guys, let me share this one. Then you can scan the socials, and then you can always ask me questions later. Yeah, Sabrina said this is allowed. Though she doesn't want she already has, do you have my socials?
Yes, I do.
Also follow me back on Twitter. Am I even on Twitter? Yeah, you can follow me back there also.
You just want to accuse me.
Yeah, you don't follow me. And then man, the big guys follow me, just be there. So guys, I really think it's nice interacting with you guys, and if you have questions, I'm always around. And you are welcome to my space if it launches. I'll make sure I call all of you. Guys from Kenya, I don't think you'll be around. What? Yeah, man, Sabrina, the guy has stayed with questions almost cry. He's the next speaker. Please give him a question.
Let me just call
He's the
Sodiq,
next- I think
and
he's
then
the-
because I can't see him, just to remind him. Sodiq, wherever you are, your session is coming up next, so make way to the room. I don't know if you can hear.
Sadiq, yeah, Sadiq has heard. So you can ask your question. I think you ask your question, then I run away.
Thank you. My question is, it's about Web3 as well. I know a couple other ways that people do make money online, but I wanted to understand it on, say, via API access, things like farming tokens is available. Because you spoke about, making transactions of payment, but with the exception of that, you didn't elaborate whether we are, in a sense, able to as well integrate or use other features like farming tokens and staking other tokens in times, in case a person wants to stake their money against a particular token that is going to be launched or something like that, where it will be sort of financial money. Is that as well available with API or now that we can do that?
So in the interest of time, let me use like 2 minutes or 30 seconds. So if you know an API for mobile money, I'll give you that example. MTN gives it to you. Sometimes Airtel gives it to you or refuses. Another person, the bank, Centi agent gives you, go to Sentinel, they will chase you. So it's like that. There's Africa where it has a staking. Like go on Binance, if you're using Binance API, you find some tokens give you the staking API. It's like the individual projects. But literally, if you want, you can also even write your own contract and allow it to stake. I'm staking with Africa Rare, as I told you. It's like literally nice, something 149% APR now. We're on 400, by the way, we just went down. Those who are hearing APR, please go and do research. I don't have time for it. Sabrina has chased me. But like literally, it's like an open source question. Some projects give it, others don't give it. But like developers, you could also integrate it in your projects. Have the users stake, you have saving companies, you have what? If you're doing a loans app, don't let people save the money. Stake it somewhere. If the token disappears, you can also disappear. Otherwise, guys, nice seeing you and thank you for being attentive listeners.